Right, here we are again looking at solving quadratics by factorisation, which is a really important topic in higher tier maths. Here's our quadratic, and the first thing we need to do is see if we can factorise it into a single bracket. Is there a common factor through all of it? And this term and this term have got an x in them, but this one doesn't, and there's no number that I can take out, so that tells me I can't do it in a single bracket. I'm going to need 2. So I'll draw those 2 in, and I'll keep it equal to 0. And I need to find out what numbers are going to go in there. Obviously it's going to be x times by x to give me that x squared term, so I can put those in. And the rule is that I'll always be looking for 2 numbers that will multiply together to give me this positive 6 and add together to give me this minus 6 here. This minus 5, sorry. So the combinations I could use to make 6 would be 3 and 2. It could be minus 3 and minus 2. Or it could be 6 and 1, or minus 6 and minus 1. And obviously only one of these pairs is actually going to add together to give me minus 5. That one doesn't, but this one does. Minus 3 times minus 2 does give me plus 6, and minus 3 take away 2 adds together to give me minus 5, so I can put those in. So to solve this from here, what we know is that this number times by this number must equal 0, so either this bracket must be worth 0, in which case x minus 3 would be 0, so x must be 3, or in this case this bracket must be worth 0, in which case x would have to be positive 2. So those are my 2 solutions to that quadratic. So let's put the same thing to use here. Again, we'll do a quick check to make sure there's no single factor that I can take outside the brackets. There isn't, so I know I'm going to be needing 2. So we'll pull those out, and we'll work out the ways that I'm going to get 2 numbers that multiply together to give me minus 10. So minus 10 I could make with minus 5 and 2. I could make it with 5 and minus 2, 10 and minus 1, and the other way round, which would be minus 10 and 1. So only one of those pairs is actually going to add together to give me minus 3 though, and it's the first one at the top here. It's minus 5 add 2 gives me minus 3. So let's put those numbers in. Minus 5 and add 2. So now we know to solve it, either this bracket must be worth 0, so x minus 5 equals 0, in which case x would have to be 5, or the other bracket must equal 0, in which case x would have to be minus 2. So those are my 2 solutions to that one. I can check them by substituting them back in, of course, to make sure that that does give me 0. Right, next one. Again, we'll do our usual check to make sure there's no common factor. This term's got an x in it, and this one does as well. So here, because I'm missing that extra term, there is a common factor. That common factor is x, so I'm going to pull that out straight away. So I've got x lots of x times by something to give me 2x squared must be 2x, and x times by something to give me minus 5x must be minus 5. So I have taken out a single factor there. Now, the same rules apply. If 2 things multiplied together give me 0, then either this must be 0, so one of the answers must be x equals 0, or the other answer, that is 0, will be when 2x minus 5 equals 0. And if that's the case, 2x would have to be 5, in which case x would be 2.5, or 5 over 2. Again, you could substitute those back in to check that they're correct. Again, let's have a look at this one. So we're going to have a quick look for a common factor. This has got an x term, this has not got an x in it, so I can't go through my common factor here in a single bracket, which tells me I'm going to need 2 brackets, even though it might not look like it at first. It must be x and x again. And I'm looking for 2 numbers that multiply together to give me this term on the end, but they add together to give me nothing this time. There's nothing there in the middle. So 81 could be, well, 9 and 9 makes sense here. minus 9 and positive 9. Let's have a look at why that makes sense. If I put those in, when I expand this back outwards, so I do that times that, and so on, I'll get x squared from the first one, and then I'll get plus 9x minus 9x minus 81. So what those middle two terms here, that one and that one, will cancel each other out and leave me with just x squared minus 81. It's called the difference of two squares. So when I now solve this from here, well, either x minus 9 must be 0, in which case x would be 9, or for the other one, x plus 9 equals 0, so x would have to be minus 9. Okay, and again, let's have a look at this one, see if there's a common factor. There is a common factor here, and that's x, so pull that outside the bracket. So I'd have x lots of, then we've got 4x, and then we've got minus 49. Let's look at the final situation here. Check for a common factor. There isn't any because there's three terms and only two of them have got an x in, and there's no number that I can take out, so I know I need two brackets and two things to multiply together to give me 2x squared, or one of them must be 2x and the other one gives me x. Doesn't matter which order I want to go with these at the moment. And rules still apply. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply together to give me 15, but it's not so simple as just outright adding together to give me 13 this time. We do need that, but not straight away. So ways of making 15, it could be 15 and 1, and it could be 3 and 5. Now notice, because I'm going to be multiplying by 2x this time, it does make a difference which way around we put them. So I could also have the reverse of that, 1 and 15. Let's check them. So let's try by putting 15 in here first of all. I'd have 15 times by x, give me 15x, and I'd have one lot of 2x. So 15x add 2x would give me 17x. Can't be that one in that order. Put the 15 in here, 15 lots of 2x would be 30x, plus one lot of x would give me 31x. So fairly conclusive that can't possibly be that pair. So 3 and 5 then. If I put the 5 in here, I've got 5 lots of 2x, which is 10x, plus 3 lots of x, which is 3x, which gives me 13x. So that one is the right combination. So I'll put those in that way round. Now I can go and check it by multiplying it back out, make sure it gives me what I thought it was going to. That times that is 2x squared, that times that is 10x, that times that is 3x, which is where the 13x came from, and that times that is plus 15. So let's just go over and solve it. 2x plus 3 equals 0. In order for this bracket to be 0, x would have to be, well, 2x equals minus 3, so x equals minus 1.5, or 3 over 2. Or the other bracket would have to be 0, in which case x plus 5 would be 0, so x would have to be minus 5.